Hi everyone, it's Erin from the Provincial Farmhouse. Today I'm doing a video for the Paint Couture creative team. First, I'm going to be using Paint Couture's Rapid Casting Resin in white in Redesign with Prima's Bright Baubles mold and the Timeless Ties mold. Now I am wearing gloves for this. I'm going to be pouring out equal parts step 1 and step 2 into a measuring cup. I'm also then adding it to a silicone cup as well. I'm going to be stirring it really well for about 30 seconds, and I'm also using this in a well ventilated area. Once I finished mixing the resin, I added it to one of the bauble designs in that first mold, and I'm also going to be adding the resin to the larger bow in the Timeless Ties mold, and I ended up actually doing 2 castings of this. After about 10 minutes, my resin was ready. I decided that I was going to use IOD's Christmas Joy transfer pack. This is from last year's Christmas release, specifically this lovely snowy house scene. I'm going to just work out how much is actually going to fit on my ornament, and I'm going to trim off the excess from the top and bottom, and then I'm going to be peeling off the backing, positioning the transfer over the center, and then I'm using the transfer stick to rub that transfer down. I'm then going to trim off some of the excess from around the outside just to make it a bit easier to work with, and then I'm going to continue to rub, lifting that plastic up as I'm going until I have the entire transfer down. To seal my transfer, I'm going to be using Paint Couture's Extreme Guard in Satin. I'm going to apply 2 coats, and when that was dry, I turned my attention to the back. I'm going to be using Roycycled's Navy Tartan decoupage paper. Here you can see I'm just cutting out how much I'm going to need for the back, and then I'm using decoupage medium in Shine. I'm going to apply a generous coat to the back of the ornament, and then I'm going to press the tartan paper into that wet medium and smooth it out. I did also use a little bit of cling wrap to help smooth out some of the wrinkles, and then I applied another coat of the decoupage medium in Shine over the top of that. As I was doing this, I did decide that I would actually trim some of the paper off the top section for the hanging attachment. I let that dry, and then I came in with my scissors. I'm going to trim off some of the excess that way, and I'm also going to use some 180 grit sandpaper as well to tidy up the edges and remove the excess, just being careful not to cause any tears on that paper. Next, I took out Paint Couture's Pitch Black Chalk Paint. I'm going to be applying it to the top and bottom sections of the ornament. I knew I wanted to have a metallic at the top, and one of my favorite things to do is to add a black base. This makes coverage a lot easier, but it also deepens the metallic and gives it a bit more of a vintage feel. Often I don't go for full coverage. I want it to look like an aged metal finish. So I'm going to add that to the front there. I'm also going to add it to the attachment section on the back. And then I took out pure gold metallic stencil paste, and I'm applying it over the top of the dry chalk paint there. Now I went with stencil paste as opposed to Luxe Metallic because I wanted to build up some texture again to add to that vintage feel. So I'm applying a coat of it, brushing it on, and then I'm going back in and doing a dabbing and stippling motion to thicken up that section and apply more product. And I'm going to repeat that process on the bottom of the ornament as well. And of course, I will also be doing it to the top section on the back. And I also thought that it would be nice to use it to go around the edges on the back and create a bit of a gold frame around those sections. Next, I'm going to be focusing on the bows from the Timeless Ties mold. I'm going to repeat the process that I used on the top and bottom of the ornament there, applying a pitch black chalk paint base over the top. I only ended up needing to do 1 coat. I am going to be doing that on the second bow that I'm going to be using as well. And I'm going to then let that dry and then come in and add the pure gold metallic stencil paste over the top. And as I said before, I'm happy for some of that pitch black to peek through here and there for an aged finished effect. I did add 1 more coat of the pure gold in those different sections. And then when that was dry, I took out pearl crystal paste. I'm going to use a palette knife there to dab that over the top of the areas where we have the snowy effects on the transfer. This is one of my favorite ways to embellish snowy scenes because it does give that beautiful glitter, but it also has quite an icy finish to it. I'm going to have the product continue down onto parts of the gold sections on the ornament as well. I am also going to be adding it around some of the edges too. And as I'm applying it, I'm dabbing at it. Because it's a paste, you're going to get some really fun peaks and texture happening there. I took out Paint Couture's Snow Flakes, and I'm going to be sprinkling that over the top of the wet crystal paste so that it sticks to that, and also layering Sheer Frost German glass glitter over that as well. These are some of my favorite products to use on Christmas crafts. I'm then using B7000 super glue on the back of the bow. I'm going to use this to attach it to the ornament. My ornament is dry before doing this. And when that was dry, I decided I wanted to add this stenciled design to the back of the ornament so that it had a feature. So I'm going to position it over the top of the decoupage paper and use some more of that pearl crystal paste over the top. I'm applying it over the top using my palette knife again, holding that stencil in place carefully so that it doesn't slip around. So this is going to give us that raised stencil effect, but it's also going to have that beautiful icy crystal look, which is perfect for our ornament here. And then I'm going to carefully remove that. I also decided to add some of the pearl crystal paste around the outside of the ornament as well. So you're still going to be able to see some of that gold, but this is going to be layered over the top, and I really do love a layered finish. Before I attach the other bow to this side, I went in with the pitch black chalk paint and I'm applying it to the sections that you're going to be able to see part of on the other side of the ornament. I want it to, of course, match the front of the bow. So I'm adding the pitch black, and then when that's dry, I'm adding the pure gold metallic paste. And of course, I'm going to repeat the same process on the other bow that I'm going to be gluing on now using that same super glue. You can see I've already added the paint to those sections, considering now I can see what's going to be visible. And then I'm going to position that over the top of the other side of the ornament there that you can see. And then I did add a bit more pure gold here and there just to disguise the transition between the two separate pieces. And then finally, I added a red velvet bow to the top for hanging when everything was dry. And here's a look at our finished Christmas ornament. I am so pleased with how this turned out, and it was so easy to do with Paint Couture products. Let me know what you think of this in the comments. If you enjoyed today's video, we would really appreciate it if you would hit that like button, comment, and if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so that you don't miss out on any of the videos from the Paint Couture creative team. Thanks for watching.